Hello, and welcome to Algebra 1 SOL Prep Week 9, Factor Polynomials. So in addition to factoring, we're also going to remember that that's part of solving polynomials. To solve helps us to factor and vice versa. To factor helps us to solve. So we remember some synonyms that are very important. When we see the word zeros, it means the same as the word roots, which means the same as the word x-intercept, which means the same as the word solutions. They are all the same thing. Now, factors are a different thing. Factors are formed from zeros, roots, x-intercepts, and solutions. So first, we're going to talk about how to find zeros, roots, x-intercepts, or solutions. Remember, they all mean the same thing. Now you might see some different forms of the expression given to you. It might just be the polynomial expression or a function with f of x equals, and remember that's the same as saying y equals, or an equation where the expression might equal 0 or equal something else where we'll want it to equal to 0. So that's the first step, is make sure the equation is set equal to 0, unless it's just an expression. Then we don't have to worry about it. We'll go to the apps and then choice 4 for simultaneous equations. And then we'll follow these steps. Now sometimes it's easy enough just to use the y equals button to graph it. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Number 1, which equation could represent a graph with x-intercepts 4, 0 and -7, 0? Now those seem like they'd be pretty easy to check. So I would prefer probably for this one to plug these 4 choices into y equals and take a look at the graph. So that's what I'm going to do. X squared plus 3x minus 28. X squared, that's the quick button for x squared, plus 3x minus 28. Let's go ahead and plug in the rest. So now that we've plugged in all 4 choices, we're going to take a look at the graph. Now I could just press graph, but sometimes the graph's a little funky, so we're going to start with zoom 6 for a standard 10 by 10 graph. First one is blue, second one is red. Looks like those are the only 2 that they're showing. Now remember what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the x-intercepts of 4, 0 and -7, 0. So I'm looking for where does it cross through at 4 on the x-axis and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -7 on the x-axis. And I see that's the blue graph. And if I didn't remember, I could go back to y equals and see that the blue one was the first one that I typed in. So now I know that choice A is correct. What's another way to do this? Well, following these steps for the app. I would go to Apps, choose choice 4, and then I want the first choice, Polynomial Root Finder, because remember I'm finding roots when I'm finding x-intercepts. X-intercepts and roots mean the same thing. So I'm choosing that first one, and then I'm going to press Next by pressing the graph button that's right underneath Next. For A, I want the number that's in front of the x squared. Here I see no number, so I remember that that means it's a 1. 1 is good, enter. In front of the x, I see a positive 3. 3, enter. And then in front of the no x's, that's my C, I see -28. So -28, enter. And now solve is here, so I press the button right under it. 4 and -7. So that's another way I could have done it using the app. Number 2, what values of x are solutions of 3x squared plus 11x equals 20? Well, remember our first step is to make sure the equation is set equal to 0. So how do I move this? Change sides, change signs. I'd be subtracting 20, so this would be 3x squared plus 11x minus 20 equals 0. So now I see when I need to use the app, the A is 3, the B is 11, and the C is negative 20. Let's go ahead back to the calculator. Now, if I'm already in the app and I need to get out, I can press second quit to get out of any app. It takes me back one step, and I can do my root finder from here. Next, and now let's type the A is 3, enter. The B is 11, positive 11, and the C is negative 20. Enter and solve. And I get 4/3 and negative 5. Now, sometimes it might show up as a decimal. That might freak you out. Don't worry about it. See the FD button? That switches over fractions to decimals. So we just press the button right under it, and we can get back to the fraction or the decimal, whichever one we need. So I see positive 4/3 and negative 5, and that's what I'm looking for. Here it is, positive 4/3 and negative 5. Choice D is the correct answer. Now we come to finding factors. Finding factors just includes one extra step. First, we're going to find the zeros, roots, x-intercepts, solutions, whatever you want to call them, of the problem following the steps in what we did before. Then we're going to form our factors using those calculator answers like this. If we get x equals 3, then we move the 3 over, and remember, change sides, change signs. We have to subtract it when it's positive 3. So with a positive 3 x-intercept, the factor becomes x minus 3. With a negative 4 x-intercept, the factor becomes x plus 4. Change the side, change the sign. If we have a fraction, we first have to get rid of the denominator. So we multiply by the denominator first. So we multiply by that 2, so it becomes 2x equals 5. And then that 5 has to be subtracted, so we get minus 5 from the 2x. Again, 8 is the denominator. We multiply by the 8. We've multiplied by the 8, and now we have negative 3 left. It has to get added to the other side, 8x plus 3, and that's it. Let's do an example. Number 1, the zeros of a function are 2/3 and negative 5. Which could be the function? So just like this one with the fraction, let's write down x equals 2/3. We don't want a denominator, so the first thing is multiply by the denominator, and we get 3x equals 2. Now we need to move the positive 2 to the other side, and we do it by subtracting. So that becomes 3x minus 2 equals 0. And this is our factor, 3x minus 2. So I'm looking for which of these has the factor 3x minus 2, and this is the only one that does. So choice A must be correct. However, let's double check that this one is also there. If x equals negative 5, remember we change sides by adding the 5. So that becomes x plus 5 equals 0, and x plus 5 is our factor, which I see there. So definitely choice A is correct. Number 2. What is the factored form of 25x squared? Let's try that again. Which represents the factors of 36x squared minus 49? So first, we go to our calculator and we use the app to type in our A, B, and C. Now, you'll notice I only have 2 terms. So let's look at this carefully. In front of the x squared is 36. So A is 36. There is no x term, so the B, which would normally be in the middle, is 0. The C is the one that doesn't have any x with it, so the C is negative 49. That can be a tricky one. Let's go ahead and go back to the main menu and find some roots. So again, we said the A is 36, the B, 0, because we didn't have any x term, and the C, negative 49. And now we solve. Remember, if we had fractions or decimals and we wanted the other, we'd press that button. But for factors, we want the fractions. So I see 7/6 and negative 7/6. Let's write those down. X equals 7/6 and x equals negative 7/6. So remember, first, we get rid of the denominator by multiplying by 6. So that is 6x equals 7. Then I need to change the side of the 7 by subtracting 7. So that gives us 6x minus 7 equals 0. The factor that I'm looking for is 6x minus 7. Here's a 6x minus 7, but here's a 6x minus 7 as well. Because this one doesn't have it, we won't choose choice A or choice D. Let's look at the other one. Denominator, multiply. So 6x equals negative 7. Move the negative 7 by adding 7, so 6x plus 7 equals 0. The other factor I'm looking for is 6x plus 7. That's what this one has, so B is the correct choice. Have fun practicing, and thanks for watching.